bored with The
Great.
Last of Us.
Oh yeah. I mean, come on. Aren't we all?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, I see plenty of people talking about how it's like the greatest show
Yeah.
ever. So I mean,
We'll see. But I'm not keeping my hopes up.
by episode 5, my hopes were already like done. Like, but then again, like I'm not a fan of the game. I've never played it. I'm not a video gamer, so you know,
The game's good.
that's what
I just
everyone
watched
says.
someone play it.
I don't even own a gaming console. Yeah, like I don't own a gaming console, so I always miss that. I mean, I know I'm missing out because millions of people
Were you
enjoy.
ever like a
I mean, no,
gamer?
not really.
Because I never was.
When I was in high school, I'd game. Like my brother and I had, PS2 and 64. Like the original Xbox was one I had in like middle school, and I remember playing games on that. Guitar Hero when it was big. I remember Gun was a big game when that came out for Xbox originally, and my brother and I would play it all the time, like nonstop. Um, and as like those games like Red Dead Redemption and shit, and Red Dead Revolver, and like you know,
Yeah. I
GTA.
didn't
Like
do any of that. I played some Streets of Rage on the Dreamcast with my friend. I was not good
Dreamcast.
at I was not good at it.
Yeah, I was never good at it either, which is
It's
maybe
a
why
is that what it's called? Dream something on a fucking
Sega had the Dreamcast for a
Sega
while.
Dreamcast.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even fucking know. Just remember that's what was in my friend's basement.
yeah. And I remember playing it like when we were in like college and stuff, we would play it like at parties or whatever, like Mario Party or Mario Kart or something, like
Yeah.
drunk, stoned, playing video games. But and I'll play it like I don't care, it's fun. But like I just never, it wasn't for me. I was just always
Yeah.
into other shit that like occupied my time and satisfied me, and so I never really got into gaming that much. My brother was a much bigger gamer,
I
but even
liked The
he,
Sims.
The Sims, yeah, the PC gaming, I got into that. Like, middle school, the
Oh
AIM
yeah.
years, yeah, Sims, and like, what was that other game? Risk, right? And,
Oh, I didn't get into that.
or no, what was that? Mist, that's what I was thinking of. Mist. No, I
No,
used to
I
play
never
that
heard
all
of
the
it.
time. Like early 2000s PC, CD-ROM game, all that kind of shit.
There were a lot of weird like PC games
Lara Croft, Tomb Raider's the
that like
original,
I
like,
barely remember. But and
yeah.
they were like silly like kiddie games. But they were so I don't know, they just fucking mystified me. They were like I just became there was like this Peter Pan one that I never actually owned but had like a little demo for or something. Like some
Yeah.
trial version. I remember just watching the beginning to that and going, oh
Yeah, and I had an older sibling, so we had like a Sega Genesis before I knew what video games even were, and I would like
yeah.
watch my older sister play, and like she'd teach me how to play like the Aladdin game and like Busy
Oh yeah.
Town. Busy Town had like a Sega game for a while. The little critter stories, I'm talking about children's stories. Little critter.
No.
They had a game called like Busy Town that I was obsessed with for a while. But yeah, just not a big gamer, whatever.
Yeah, I never had any of that. I think we had like an N64 when those like first hit
Oh yeah. I
or
mean, what were
whatever,
you
like
doing
the
if you didn't have
OG,
one? Yeah.
like the OG one that had Super Mario Bros.
Oh, the original
Like
Nintendo?
yeah,
Oh shit.
yeah,
Before our time.
yeah. Maybe yeah. So maybe it was just like a Nintendo, and it was like that, and like Duck Hunt, and it had like that thing with the trackpad. There was like
Mm.
some fucking gray pad that you put on the ground. This is like pre DDR. I was, in elementary school, and I never understood what that fucking trackpad was for. But I do remember really enjoying the shit out of Duck Hunt.
Yeah, those
That
are
was like
always
my
fun.
secondary game.
That's like
When I wasn't playing Mario, I was playing Duck Hunt.
it's like back in the days when like that was like before we knew what video games would become. So it was like,
Yeah.
at home arcade games basically, like,
Yeah.
from like the 70s and 80s, and then they kind of the Mario stuff came in there, and then but yeah, man, I never played The Last of Us, but yeah, I am disappointed by the show, particularly because I like Craig Mazin. Like I've been talking to Sophie about this. Like I think Craig Mazin is great. I'm really surprised that the show is so boring with him at the helm of it, but
Yeah, it's disappointing.
yeah, I think he just got too sentimental with it, like, and just missed what we all love about zombie shows, which is fucking zombies attacking humans and killing them. That's like the main thing, dude, and that's just not happening. Like that's just not happening in the zombie show. Okay.
Yeah. Conspicuous absence of zombies is.
But I guess for listener, we're recording this on March 4th, so I think there's still like 3 weeks left of that show.
Yeah.
So by the time this comes out, that show will be over. So we'll probably change our opinions by then, or we'll solidify them. We'll see. But
Who knows?
listeners, we like to hear it, so tell us what you think. If you like The Last of Us, or you think it's missing something, or it's perfect, or whatever. We'd like to hear. Dude, I like hearing I like being disagreed with, like, and not like people calling names or whatever, but like just serious discussion with people that like I want to know, like. Do you think I'm
I was
wrong?
curious
like,
for what.
yeah.
I mean, I was curious for what you would think as somebody who didn't play it, because I have trouble seeing sometimes when I'm like, nope, there was supposed to be a lot of action here and it didn't happen. Then I get pissed,
and I don't have the nostalgia factor where like I think a lot of people are saying it's good just because they're happy to see something they really like brought to life on screen.
Oh well, yeah, yeah,
which is understandable.
It's really well
I don't
cast.
Because like I said, Craig Mazin knows what he's doing. Like he knows how to make great TV. Like he's done it a bunch of times. He's made great movies. He's a great writer. This one missed the mark. They can't all be good. I mean, he did Chernobyl, like he did The Hangover.
Wait, what did he do? What was that first one?
He wrote Chernobyl, the series. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, that one was great.
That's what got him
like
this
a little bit
job.
boring for the last few episodes, but it was still good as shit.
But yeah, because the last few episodes it became a courtroom drama, but it still worked with like the tension and the drama. But like that got him an Emmy, and I think that's what got him to be the showrunner of The Last of Us. Is they like approached him, like HBO was like, "Hey, would you want to do this?" And he was of course like, "Yeah." So like, he's done a lot of good shit. I mean, The Hangover, people he was a comedy writer originally in his career, but he has a podcast. Listeners can check it out. He has a podcast with John August, another very, very awarded and very good screenwriter. They're, I think called Script Notes, I believe. I listen to it every once in a while because it's interesting when they have stuff about, screenwriting world, what's happening in the Hollywood industry, everything from the Writers Guild to, the calls for projects and stuff. Fun thing for writers. They do something different than we do, but if you're into screenwriting, check it out. All right, I guess that's enough preamble, dude. You good to go?
Yep.
Heavy.
Bored.
Heavy.
I am heavy.
Bored.
I may say male is entirely hostile. No!
Resources.
Life, friends, is boring. We must not say so.
All right. What podcast is this, Soph?
This is Heavy Board.
I'm Andrew Whitstadt.
I'm a great negative force.
And today we're continuing with our Dickinson deep dive. And note to listeners, I know we said we were doing 200-page chunks because we're trying to do this in 3 to 4 parts. Looks like we might go a little bit beyond that because as we move through, like, listeners can go back and listen to our last episode if you haven't, where we start this whole Dickinson deep dive. But this entire time, for this entire episode, we are in the year 1862. We kind of just left off the year 1862 on last episode, and you could hear us getting very excited and kind of wanting to. We didn't actually ran out of time. We couldn't even talk about all the poems we wanted to. And then when Sophie and I were reading through these next 200 pages for the next chunk, she texted me. It was just like, we might have to cut this down. Like, there are too many bangers. Like, there's too much I want to cover. And, like,
Well, yeah, I mean, just in addition to, like, if we want to talk about, like, any of the, like, lesser-known poems, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so we agreed basically to just cut it in half. So we did 100 pages this time. So not as much as we originally planned, but, like, we have so many poems that we want to talk about and, like, talk about and praise Dickinson and all that, so that, you know, bear with us. We added an extra part, but I think our listeners won't mind. They're poetry freaks. So just to let you all know, same book, same deal, you know, the Johnson version, same books, and then we're kind of supplementing with some of the Vendler stuff. Although I didn't really have time to catch up on all the Vendler stuff this week, but I will make up for that next week, most likely.
No, neither did I. I was able to scan it a little bit. It is hard, though, you know, because it is in such a different order, because she uses the other numbering system.
Yeah.
So, like, there are some that are in this section that for her are much later. And then there are a lot that we just haven't gotten to. Like, I think maybe none of, like, the poems from the last third of Vendler's book are in this section. But we'll see.
No.
But yeah, it is weird. It's like going backwards and, like, being like, what, when was this?
Yeah, and, you know, this isn't a class, so
No
it's,
other
yeah,
manuscript.
it's just us.
Yeah.
Curious, so yeah, I just didn't have time with everything else going on. This, like I said, listeners, you want us to do this more often, and sign up. Sign up to yeah, we should do housekeeping right now, actually, before I forget. Before we get into this, okay, listeners, like as I said, we have a subscription plan. If you enjoy what you're hearing, you want to hear more, please sign up to support us at patreon.com/heavyboard. Gives you full access to uncensored episodes and bonuses and all the other goodies for subscribers only. If you don't want to do that, can't afford that, you can support us in other ways. You can leave us a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. That helps us out, helps us grow. Just click that little 5-star button, and you're good. You can also support us by subscribing to our YouTube channels. We have a YouTube channel where we release all of our free episodes, as well as a clips channel if you don't have time to listen to the entire episode. Give those a subscribe. That helps us out. It's a free way to support us. We appreciate it. We love our listeners. And as a reminder, we're still looking for workshop horror stories. If you or someone you know had a terrible experience in a workshop, we want to hear about it. Please send that in to heavyboardpodcast@gmail.com in excruciating detail. And we'll hopefully give you a little relief, a little solace. Relieve that tension, because we can joke about it and know that you're not alone. Send those in. heavyboardpodcast@gmail.com. That's housekeeping. Although I think that I'm probably going to paywall this episode, so you know, we'll see. But so anything goes. So
Nice.
just say whatever we want, you know. Farts. Where do you want to start with this?
Where do you? Yeah, I don't know. Did you want to go back at all, or do you just want to start from page 200?
Well, I know we didn't give as much time to the last couple we covered as we wanted to, but we kind of hit it. So it would really only be one or two more poems from last week's grouping. But as I said to listeners already, we're still in the kind of circa 1862 packet. So all of the poems that we're covering today, from kind of page 200 to page 300 in this edition that we have of Dickinson's complete works, they're all from 1862. So we're in the banger year. As I said in that first episode, I think this is the packet in 1862 that was at least dated 1862. It had, 366 poems sewn together in that little packet they found in Dickinson's drawer after her death. And we're right in the middle of it in this. And even at page 300, we're still in 1862. I'm going to take a look real quick just to see when we start to get to 1863, and it looks like there's almost another 40 pages or so of 1862 poems before we move into 1863. So yeah, we're in literally her most productive year right now, which is exciting. And I mean, again, we've said this before, but like a thrill to witness reading this with Sophie and you guys out there listening at home. It's a thrill to see all of this. But as we said, there's so many bangers in these next 100 pages in this latter half of the 1862 poems that we were worried we wouldn't even have enough time to fit it into like a 2-3 hour episode. So we'll see how it goes.
When does this period end? Like, I'm trying to see, like, on what page?
It was like page
we move
340.
into 63.
330. 331 is when it officially switches to 1863, and that's around poem 665.
Damn.
So I just wanted to like point out that like we're in like a very productive time frame and prime of Dickinson's kind of writing. And you'll hear us get into like the richness, the things we really enjoy as she matured as a writer. And again, 1862 is the year she started sending stuff out to editors and things like that. But yeah, what did you mark as we moved through here? Right away, I was 424, 426, page 202 and 203 for me.
I think I marked one right on page 200, but I'm just checking something.
What are you checking?
The year of her birth. She was born in 1830. So in 1862, she's 32. So yeah, she's like our age during this most productive year.
And
just out of curiosity.
Why is that? Why do a lot of writers, even a lot of writers, don't get published till after they're 40 and stuff? Why is that? Well, because you need that experience. You need that maturity. And while she probably dabbled in poetry before all this and all of that, like we had the very first poems were estimated to be dated around 1850, right? So she was maybe 20 when she started doing this, a teenager right out of high school, or what they would equivalent to high school at that time with a private tutor or something. And it's like, so of course she's just starting, she's read all the greats, she's getting interested in it. And then, 1862, 12 years later of her trying to do this, 12 years of work. And we see it come to fruition with that maturity at the age of 32. Oh yeah.
And again, there are still like other bangers in that first batch of poems that we looked at.
Yeah.
So, even early on, she was very skilled. Or at least very original.
You said you marked one right away on page 200. What number?
419.
419.
Grow accustomed to the dark.
Yeah.
This is one of the ones where I feel like she's a little less restrained. It's still restrained. But I feel like as we go on, we increasingly sort of lose things. Not in a bad way. I just mean everything sort of gets tighter and more compressed.
Yeah. It's what I did for 424 and 426. They're both shorter poems, but it's like where we're seeing everything work perfectly. The slant rhymes, the end rhymes, the dashes. There is a point in here where I think she gets a little overboard with the dashes. We'll get to that. But, like we said before on last episode, this is a complete work. So this is the good and the bad, the practice poems and the bangers, They can't all be masterpieces, but there's a lot of them for somebody who wrote 366 poems this year in 1862. What about for 419? Or did we already say it?
No, it was just like
Heavy.
Bored.
Heavy.
I am heavy.
Bored.
If you're hearing this, you're listening to the free version of Heavy Board. If you'd like to hear the full episode, become one of our subscribers at patreon.com/heavyboard. For less than 1 cup of coffee per month, you will receive full access to uncensored episodes, jerk shop, special dispatches, bonus interviews, and more. Come join the conversation today at patreon.com/heavyboard.
Are you radioactive now?
Inner.
Resources, American resources.
Being bored?
Some activities are intentional, right?
It shows such a lack of gratitude for life. Bored. I aspire to boredom, I should say.
Bored.
Heavy.
I am heavy.
Bored.
Has you the night sweats and the day sweats, pal? Pal, I do.